Welcome to Pay-to-Play report for Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. It's a game that came out in 2009 for PlayStation 3. It was published by Sony and developer was Naughty Dog. The game was re-released in 2015 for PlayStation 4 as a collection of 3 games, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Now, the game is a PlayStation exclusive, and it's a mix of third-person cover shooter with a 3D platformer elements in it. Well, it's a mix of them basically. So it's not like elements. It's a 3D platform. There's a 3D platforming, and there's a third-person cover shooting in it. Now, if I go into the settings for the game here, you can see that when it comes to visuals, there's no anything there special here. The game pretty much runs the way it would run on PlayStation 4, on PlayStation 5. Maybe it just runs faster because we have a better hardware, but there's no upgrade in terms of PlayStation 5 type of a graphics type of upgrade that is sometimes accompanied to some PlayStation 4 games. Now, let's jump in and I'll show you what the game is about. It was actually pretty difficult to find a good spot to jump in and show the game, so there's no like major spoilers about the game, the story, or something like that. I think this would be the best section I could find. So we're gonna jump in here, and I'll talk about exactly what the game is about and what we'll be seeing in the game and so on, and how I would know what's here. So our main character is the same character as from Uncharted 1, and he's a treasure hunter looking for legendary treasures, and in this case he's following the clues based on the Marco Polo's diaries to a treasure that Marco Polo has described. So from that perspective, we start out, and here we'll have to start running and get away from a truck, and while at the same time shoot at it, and we have to really run fast and not to fall too far too close to it, because eventually the truck is supposed to explode, and it can kill us if we don't run fast enough. Okay, so we managed to do this. So back to the story. You don't need to know what happened in Uncharted 1 in order for you to kind of play Uncharted 2. While you're gonna meet the same characters that you had in Uncharted 1 and that you met in Uncharted 1, and this has, but the relationship and what happens and also what, it's all kind of explained in the game, so there's no problems there. So you don't really kind of need to play for Uncharted 1 just to know what's going on in the game. You do want to play for Uncharted 1 because the Uncharted 2 game will not give you any hints about mechanics that you should have known from Uncharted 1. So for anything new that's Uncharted 2, it will tell you how to do things, but for anything that's you should have known from Uncharted 1 when it comes to game mechanics, it will not tell you anything about that. So the game does have quite a few actual themes that it explores. One of the main ones, of course, is good versus evil. It's a standard theme, you can find everywhere. And there's not much here to talk about the good versus evil. Like I said, it's very standard. The other theme that we have here is the theme of greed and corruption by power. But what we're going to do here, first of all, is we're gonna kind of get rid of these guys one after another. And that didn't work because, well, it didn't work because we should have did something here quickly, and there we go. Hand-to-hand combat. Really like the fact that it's present really well done in the game. It really makes my life easier here, especially the shooting sections, and I'll talk about shooting sections later. So back to the themes. So we got greed and corruption from power and so on, like once people obtain certain power and how it actually affects them. It's shown in the game. But I think what I really like is the next themes that the game discussed. It's very well done, and that's the idea of selfishness versus sacrifice for some greater, for others, for greater cause type of approach that is done. And this is done through the fact that the game shows us 2 teams of treasure hunters, and it kind of shows us the different way the 2 of them go about things. Now the game does openly kind of suggest that one team is better than the other, but the fact that it explores it, this kind of 2 teams and 2 rival approaches, where one just out there for themselves, and the other team is trying to do something for help others at the same time. It's kind of a good way to kind of showcase the difference. Now, a theme that the game does show even better is the next one. It's the idea of how do you accomplish things, how do you accomplish a goal, so ends versus means of accomplishing it. And this happens at the very end of the game when you are fighting the antagonist of the game. He does pose a question to the our protagonist here, saying, well, we both have goals. Actually, by the way, this is one of the good things I like is about the platforming sections in this game is the fact that the game does show you where to go next. Like all the sections when it comes to platforming are clear. Like the game will tell you where to climb up, where to hold down to, so on. There are no sections where you completely stump. It's like I have no idea how to get here. Like the game generally helps and gives you hints and so on, but just visually showing things. But back to the themes, right? So like I said, the antagonist asks the protagonist the question is like, we both are trying to accomplish certain things, but we both accomplish it, we have our own goals, but how do we accomplish them? Like, what makes you better than me? Like, how many people did you kill on the way, right? And this is a question that is not answered. It's left for the player to actually to kind of thing and say, how is it that the character that I'm playing is much better than the antagonist? It's left for us to consider. I really like that fact. Now we're going to just wait for the helicopter to pass by before we continue on. Otherwise, I don't want to kind of deal with the helicopter right now. I don't really have the means to do so also. And we're gonna climb up here and do a silent takedown here, which I really like the fact that we can do that in this game. Like I said, it's this kind of things approach is something that I really liked. Okay, let's keep on climbing around. And what I should have mentioned was that the visuals of the game here, right? The visuals here are really good. Like I really like the fact how everything looks. Like now this is a war-torn city type of situation here, but so what is it that I like here? Well, when I look here, nothing really looks like it's kind of been copying, just copy paste it and put in just to take up space. No, everything's here has a reason. It looks like it's here for for a reason. Things are placed in other positions, and there are other locations. We have jungles, we have underground locations, we have temples. All of them look great. I really like that fact that it's how it's all done. Now, I also like the the music in the game. Sadly, I cannot play it because usually the problems there when you try to play music. There's copyright situations. You're not sure who's got the rights. If it's possible to show it or not, to stream it or so, and that's why I usually turn off the music during reports. But I really like the visuals, the music in this game. Like no problems. Music, by the way, is a similar music to what you heard in Uncharted 1. So, what to do in the game? Well, you can play the campaign here, because in the PlayStation 4 version there is no multiplayer unlike the PlayStation 3. So you can play campaign at different levels of difficulty, and you can just kind of look for this kind of collectibles that are scattered through the levels, which, collecting them all does not kind of add anything to the actual gameplay or to the story. It's just something that you can do. Alright, so now we're going to get into the shooting section of the game. Like I said, I really like the fact that we have a silent takedowns here, because it allows me to thin down the herd before I have to go ahead and shoot them. Since the shooting section of the game suffers from the problem of aiming with the controller, right? I started this game out on the highest level of difficulty, crashing, and I had to go one down at about 10% mark, because at that point I was like, okay, I just don't have time to kind of aim fast enough with the controller at the enemies, and they just take me down constantly. I don't want to kind of replay until I get to the point that I'm actually good enough to kind of I got shot. Should not that takedown was not done well, so it took too long, too much of a time. So let's do this again. So to me, they're just like aiming with the control. Like I said, it was just horrible. Now this fact is kind of remedied in the game by the fact that quite often during the firefights, unlike this one, where we don't have any other characters supporting us, we quite often do have a character supporting us, and so this makes it easier, because they do distract other enemies, and so you have more time to aim and so on, because the characters kind of allow it because they keep on firing at the enemy. So let's get this guy down now. Let's. So from that perspective, I would say the game kind of solves this issue of slowness of aim with the controller. Let's hide a bit from the enemies here. Now there is a bigger problem, and this occurs at the very end of the game when you're fighting the final boss. You run into a situation where the fact that the final boss area where you're fighting is a very small area, you have to jump, climb, and do all that kind of stuff there, and it it becomes difficult. The fact that the boss moves pretty quickly, he's following you. I bet they got me again. So let's try this again. Not the easiest firefight that to do, but like I said, I just can't find a good section where I don't want to spoil the story too much at the same time. So there you go. Let's take this guy down. Okay, so. Like I said, the boss area is the area there is like you have to climb, jump, and do all that stuff. The boss follows you very quickly. He runs after you. He does deal damage on a greater distance, on a far distance, medium distance, and a close by distance. So you kind of try to constantly dodge his attacks, and you still need to run, and then you have to stop, turn around very quickly, and shoot certain things in order to take down the boss very accurately. So. Playing on the hard difficulty, I got to points where I was close to kind of beating him and almost there, and then suddenly, he will just kind of take me out or something like that by one of his attacks, and it just kept on repeating that. Eventually, I gave up, went to normal difficulty, took out the boss after that. But I didn't like the fact that I had to do this kind of a thing where I had to literally run into the wall. Because I pretty much ran into the wall because I couldn't take down the enemy, because even though I was managed to do the whole game on a hard level difficulty, I just couldn't deal with the boss on a hard level difficulty. And when I went on online to see different strategies that people offered how to deal with the boss, I found that most people seems to be were saying that there are ways to kind of cheese it by taking advantage of issues with the code, how the boss has been programmed, because he will get stuck in certain places or ignore you because he can't kind of properly see you. And to me, it was like, okay, well, that's one way to do it, I guess. But when I tried that actually myself, eventually, that didn't work. I did find that it just didn't work for me, because I guess maybe on PlayStation 4 version the boss programming already allowed him to kind of adapt to this situation so better or something. Okay, hopefully we got that guy with a shield. He's really annoying. Okay, see if there's more enemies there. So from that perspective, I would say that I didn't really like the fact that, like I said, I had to run into this situation with a boss. Now, when it comes to the themes that the game explores, the questions that they ask about that, the methods and the finals, the means and the ends kind of thing, I really like that. The fact that I really like all this, all that section of the game. So overall, if I take all this together, I would like to say it's a good game because once I take all that together. Now when it comes to coolness level of the game, well, you saw at the very beginning of this section I was running away from a truck while shooting at. There are sections where we have to run away from helicopters, tanks, and we have to deal with helicopters and tanks and so on. So all that elements kind of together. And there are also these ancient temples with the giant mechanisms that you have to kind of go through and solve how to. And
How does that taste? Okay.
so in order to make to open up doors or something like that, I really like that fact also, that there was this kind of elements there. Okay, where's that other guy? There has to be one more. No? Am I imagining? No, here he is.
Okay.
There we go, finally. So all that together, all those elements, like the fighting tanks, fighting helicopters, solving this giant puzzles in the ancient temples, I would say that it's more than just a cool game. The issue is that the game never came out on PC, so I cannot say that it's a zero. Like it's below. It's not zero. It's a sub-zero cool game. What the best I can do is say that it's a very cool game. Well, that's it what I have to say about the game. Thank you for watching and listening. If you like this video, please like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it, and please follow and subscribe.